So welcome everyone. Thank you for coming and attending our very first virtual graduate and professional expo. My name is Kelly Zatorsky, and I am the manager of careers and experiential learning at Careerspace at Trent University. So Careerspace, for those that don't know, is our office that is there to support and provide a completely authentic outlook on the career landscape. So we're here to provide Trent students and alumni with some meaningful experiences, some different and varying perspectives, and valuable resources. So we have appointments, workshops, online resources, all kinds of opportunities like this one to connect with employers and recruiters. So they're, and important to note, they're all free for students and alumni. We do get that question quite a bit. So feel free to visit our website. We've got all kinds of resources there. I'll plug it into the chat as well. So we're really excited to have Dr. Christy Prince here with us today. So just before we get going, I'm going to go over a few housekeeping items. So if you can put your contact information, actually, Dr. Prince, into the chat, and we can, just so that it's in there and people can grab it for future reference. So we're going to do about 10 to 15 minutes of presentation, and then we'll do a Q&A afterwards. As I say, please feel free to use the Q&A function in the bottom of the screen, or the chat function works just fine. So without further ado, I will welcome you and hand over the floor to Dr. Prince.
Great. Thank you so much for having me today. So I am a naturopathic doctor. I attended CCNM for my 4-year Doctor of Naturopathy degree and graduated in 2012. And then I also did my 2-year residency after the fact at CCNM as well. And I am still a part-time faculty member with them, in addition to having my own private practice in Cobourg, Ontario. So I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what our program involves, and then I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have afterwards, either about the program, admissions, or what it's like to work and live as a naturopathic doctor. So the Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine is a 4-year postgraduate program after you've completed your undergraduate degree. And we do accept candidates from all different undergraduate backgrounds. So you don't specifically have to have a science degree. You could be coming from, a BA, maybe you've come from a philosophy background. Anything kind of goes, as long as you have satisfied our prerequisites, which I will get to in a couple minutes. We are located in Toronto, Ontario. We're right at the corner of Leslie and Shepherd, so very accessible for commuters via the 401 or the subway or the GO. We are one of 2 naturopathic colleges in Canada, and we are the only naturopathic school in Canada that is approved to grant Doctor of Naturopathy degree versus some of the other schools. When you graduate, you're actually leaving with a Doctor of Naturopathy diploma. We have 2 intakes every year. Our September intake is the larger of the 2 intakes. Usually we take anywhere between 100 and 150 students, whereas our January intake every year is a little bit smaller, anywhere from 30 to 50 students. And then at the beginning of a second year, those 2 cohorts are combined together to make one larger group. Currently, our classes are being offered virtually. So in your first couple years, all of your classes are online. There is some virtual practical experience that is also being offered right now. And currently, our students in 4th year are able to fulfill their practical requirements. They are still working at our teaching clinic on site, seeing and treating patients, either in person or virtually. So we've been a little bit impacted by COVID, but we're doing our best to adapt. We do also have a bridge delivery program for international medical graduates, which means that they have prior education and experience in the medical field, but for whatever reason, maybe they're not able to practice as an MD in Canada or Ontario, but they still want to use their education in some capacity. And that is a 2-year accelerated program that begins in May and basically takes out all the core science competencies and really just focuses on our naturopathic principles and our practical experience. By the time you finish the program, you will leave with over 3,000 hours of classroom training and over 1,200 hours of clinical experience, which can take place in our teaching clinic on site at CCNM or at any of our satellite locations throughout the GTA. We pride ourselves in being a leader in evidence-based research, specifically in the naturopathic medicine field. And currently we are conducting more than 10 million studies focusing on a variety of topics, some of which include adjunctive therapies for cancer care, approaches to treating diabetes. Our research department is very active, and there are lots of opportunities for our students to get involved in research during their time at CCNM. And we've published quite a few studies in some of the top leading medical journals. You can see here the Canadian Medical Association Journal, the Lancet, the British Medical Journal, to name a few. Some highlights of the program and what you can expect if you are accepted and entering your education at CCNM. So our first year or first 2 years, I say, are largely your core competencies or your foundation to the program. So you are going to be focusing a lot on, anatomy, physiology, microbiology, biochemistry, pharmacology, with an introduction to all of our naturopathic modalities. So traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture, botanical medicine, clinical nutrition, physical medicine, lifestyle management, and counseling. And you will also get a little bit of exposure to clinic through a 6-week rotation where you are basically, learning the aspects of taking a comprehensive case intake, what's involved in conducting a naturopathic interview, and some of the main concerns that we see as naturopathic doctors in clinical practice. Our subsequent years basically allow you to get a bit more focused. So we've introduced electives in years 3 and 4 that do allow you to hone your skills or focus in a variety of different areas. So we have an integrative fertility focus, a focus on fibromyalgia and myalgic encephalomyelitis, chronic fatigue syndrome, naturopathic integrative oncology, pediatric sports medicine, mental health, and then there are a variety of special topics in many of our modalities as well. I usually also tell prospective students that year 3 is highly application based. So you are starting to work on cases in small groups. You are working on coming up with assessments and determining, what labs you might want to do and what might be appropriate treatment recommendations for a specific patient or a specific demographic. You're learning more hands-on physical exams, female pelvic exams, male genitalia exams, you name it, with even more progressive exposure to clinic. And then your 4th and final year is an entire year of clinical internship with very little classroom time, where you are being mentored by a registered naturopathic doctor, and you are seeing and treating patients in either our teaching clinic at the school, the Robert Shedd Naturopathic Clinic, or at one of our satellite locations throughout the GTA. As far as tuition goes, you can see here on my screen that it is quite an investment. Currently, our tuition is averaging about $24,450 Canadian per year. That may seem like a lot, but it is actually the lowest of all accredited naturopathic programs in North America. And that does not include your living costs. Some of our students will choose to live on site at our residence. There's lots of options for off-site living as well, with a varying degree of prices. Most of our students, I would say, do receive some type of external funding to help fund their education. So most of our students have OSAP or some other provincial or governmental loan if they are coming from out of province. And I would also say they combine this with professional student loans or lines of credit from various different financial institutions. Probably our most popular is a special program for naturopathic students, which is funded through RBC. And if you do need more information about funding options or financial aid, you can of course speak to our student services department because they're well versed in this area. There are a variety of entrance scholarships and bursaries that are also available. And again, those change every year. Our college works very hard to constantly provide students with different funding opportunities, but you can also gain more information about that from our website. So as I mentioned, with regards to admissions for potential candidates, we do require you to have completed your undergraduate degree in any discipline, and that must be completed prior to actually enrolling in the program. As far as the GPA goes, we look at a minimum GPA of 2.7, which is cumulative over your 4 years. I usually say competitive is between a 3 and a 3.3. And there is no MCAT or entrance exam required to apply to CCNM. We do, however, ask that our applicants have completed a full year in chemistry, biology, physiology, and any courses that fall under the humanities. So it could be sociology, anthropology, French, you name it, and then a half year of just general psychology to be eligible to apply. If you are missing some or all of those prerequisite requirements, you don't have to worry. There are means to complete it and then make you eligible to apply. So currently CCNM does offer online prerequisite programs in physiology, chemistry, biology, and psychology that you can complete while you're finishing your undergrad. Maybe you've graduated, you've taken a year off and you're working, and you can complete those in order to become eligible to apply. As I mentioned, our clinical experience is really varied for our students, but you are looking at your clinical experience being your 4th and final year of your program. So as I mentioned, the Robert Side Naturopathic Teaching Clinic is our on-site teaching clinic at CCNM. They average about 25,000 patient visits per year. And I would say most of our interns do have at least one or some of their shifts in our teaching clinic. You may also have one of your shifts or all of your shifts at our Brampton Naturopathic Teaching Clinic, which is a satellite location of the RSNC located within the Brampton Hospital, and it works to serve the larger Brampton community. We also have 8 community health centers located throughout the GTA, and these focus on serving a variety of underserviced populations. And then we also have a variety of global health externship opportunities for our students, most of which that are organized through Naturopathic Doctors International. But we do have and have had students go on many global brigades to locations such as China, Kenya, India, Nicaragua, Vietnam, and Guatemala, which allows them to just hone their clinical skills a little bit more, adapt to different environments, and work with different cultures. So we are accepting applications now. The fall is a very busy time for us with regards to reviewing applications. For our September application of 2021, our priority application date will be the start of January, and we will continue to roll out and look at applications and offer interviews to students until the spaces are filled, with a final application deadline of mid to end of July. For our January 2021 intake, we're looking to have applications by November. So if you are kind of looking at your options, if you are interested in jumping right into it, that would be something that you would want to do fairly quickly, but we are still accepting applicants for our January intake. With your application, in addition to your GPA or academic transcript, we also weight quite heavily your resume or your CV, any extracurriculars or volunteer experience that you've done. We ask applicants to complete an entrance essay, provide us with 3 references, and then there is also an entrance interview for all applicants as well. A little bit about campus life. We are a rather small facility, but we do have a lot to offer. We are, as I previously mentioned, close to a main highway, subway, shopping mall, nature trails. There's lots for anybody and everybody. We do have an amazing cafeteria that focuses in healthy food options and meeting the needs of a variety of dietary requirements. In the center of our facility, we have a beautiful courtyard and botanical botanical garden. I always say a little piece of heaven in the middle of the city. We have a full fitness center, a well-stocked library, and then we do have an on-site natural health dispensary that is accessible to our students, our faculty, and any of the student patients who are coming to see us at the RSNC. We do have an on-site residence. Currently, we have 202 single occupancy rooms. In that room, you're going to get the basics, you know, a bed, a desk, a closet, a fridge. You get access to the internet. There are washrooms on every floor, and you are grouped into kind of communal lounges where there is a TV, some couches, and then fully equipped communal kitchens. Of course, a lot of our students also opt to live off-site, which is great, and there are lots of different locations or listings that are available through the Places for Students website. As far as our student life goes, we have a very active Naturopathic Students Association that advocates for our students, plans lots of social and academic activities. They kind of govern and provide the student health plan, and they do run a variety of different clubs for our students. Lots of our students also choose to get involved in the NMSA, so the Naturopathic Medical Students Association, and this is a conglomerate of students that represent naturopathic medicine across North America. They work largely on advocacy and legislation within different provinces and states, and they do also offer some different scholarships and fellowships and grant opportunities to students. Thrive is also a newer one of our organizations. This actually didn't exist when I was in school, but I wish it did because I think it's such a great initiative. But it is basically a group that offers space for students to, you know, talk about and practice skills that some more support optimal self-care, health, resiliency to kind of help you get through the program. Much different than other programs. The program at CCNM is very small, so it's a very close-knit community with all your colleagues. If you're coming from a larger institution, not unlike Trent, but you will find that the competitive nature kind of leaves as soon as you enter. We always say community over competition, and we really do pride ourselves in maintaining that throughout the 4 years. We are very focused on being an inclusive and diverse and equitable environment. We do have the IDEA committee, which helps to advocate for change for our students, promotes a culturally safe environment for all, and then does provide resources and events to help educate the CCNM community and the community outside of CCNM as well. If you are considering CCNM, I am happy to answer any questions that you might have, but I would highly recommend that you register to attend one of our right now virtual Discover CCNM days. Our next session will be taking place on Friday, November 6th. And it's really just an opportunity for you to kind of see what the CCNM environment is like. There might be snippets of, you know, class time, what our students are doing as far as academic and student life, an opportunity to kind of tour the college, speak with another ND about the program, some of our student ambassadors or faculty, just to see if it's really a place where you envision yourself and you want to spend the next 4 years. You can also follow us on social media or sign up to receive our monthly newsletter. And you can follow us on social media with at myCCNM, hashtag CCNM Life, in anything that you would like to tag for us. And for more information, please don't hesitate to reach out either to myself or our Student Services Department. They're always happy to help, and they can be reached directly at info@ccnm.edu. So thank you so much for having me. I hope that gave you a little bit of an overview about what our program involved. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have about the program or being a naturopathic doctor.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much. That was very informative. I think there's one question in the chat.
Yeah.
We have about 3 minutes to go through if there's any other questions, but the question is, do you offer entrance scholarships, which I think you spoke to, but if you want to revisit that one.
Yes, we do offer entrance scholarships. Every year they kind of change based on, who or what companies are kind of funding the scholarships, or what external aids have donated to the school to help fund students' education. You should be able to get the full list of scholarships that are available off of our CCNM website, or usually in Google. I don't have the link handy with me right this second, but if I can find it, I will add it into the chat. But if you just Google Canadian College of Naturopathic Medicine, CCNM, entrance scholarships and bursaries, the top link should be the page that contains all of that information. Great.
So there's one question in here. Would you be able to discuss the sports medicine electives and what opportunities that it provides for students?
Absolutely. So the sports medicine electives are usually taught by the NDs who supervise our 2 focus shifts in sports medicine. And they give you a little bit more specific knowledge and practical hands-on experience with treating a variety of sports injuries or athletes, or let's say performance optimization goals from a naturopathic perspective. So you do get a little bit of exposure with regards to obviously assessing a variety of injuries and managing them, with hydrotherapy, hot and cold, acupuncture, more manual hands-on therapies in your phys med class, which is not an elective. Every student does that, but it would allow you to learn a little bit more about specific techniques that are not directly taught in the curriculum. So gua sha is a specific tool that you can use to kind of break up scar tissue and help decrease inflammation. You would get a bit more specific about acupuncture protocols and points for various injuries. And from a practical standpoint, a lot of the patients who would be coming in to see you on the sports med shift are athletes themselves. Maybe they're working on injury management. Maybe they're working on performance optimization. Maybe you're working with diet and lifestyle so that they can have more stamina or energy when they're competing. Or maybe you're actually looking at how you can improve their recovery time. And a lot of our sports med students who are on the focus shift do actually go to off-site events. So maybe not in the times of COVID right now, but previously they would go to different activities throughout the city. The Scotiabank Marathon, they'd be at the finish line kind of seeing and treating patients, 24-hour outdoor mountain bike races, things like that. So it just gives you a bit more hands-on experience if you think that's an area where you might want to focus once you get out into practice.
That's great. Thank you. So we've reached our time, but there is one more question, and maybe we can address it quickly. So what career options are typically available to students after they complete the program, which I think is probably a big question with a long answer, but.
Yep, I'll try to make it as succinct as possible. So when you graduate the program, pending that you have completed 2 sets of board exams in order to obtain your registration number, you are eligible to practice as a naturopathic doctor. And for those who don't know, a naturopathic doctor is a primary care provider recognized under the RHPA, the Registered Health Professions Act. And you're most similar to a family doctor with regards to like the types of conditions and health concerns that you see, but your philosophical approach and your treatment is different. So rather than seeing and treating symptoms, you're looking at the whole person to get at the root cause of why their health concerns might be there, and then you're treating using a largely preventative approach to health with more natural therapies using many of your naturopathic modalities. Most of our graduates work in a clinical setting, so I myself didn't start as owning a clinic. I rented space within a multidisciplinary clinic, and now I own a clinic that's focused in women's health. And we have, physios, massage therapists, another naturopathic doctor, a nutritionist, and we all kind of work towards a common goal with our patients. But most work in a clinical setting. Some work with research, some work in consulting with different nutraceutical companies or public health policies. So the options are very different, but I would say most of us inevitably fulfill some role as a clinician, so to speak.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much again. It was that was really informative. Thank you so much for taking the time. As I said, we will be this has been recorded, so we'll be just cleaning it up a little bit and we'll send that out. It'll be posted on our website and we'll share that with you as well so that you have a copy.
Great.
Thank you so much for coming today, and to our students for taking the time to learn about the opportunities. I think it's a great, this is a wonderful, it's working out really well for our first virtual fair, I think. So thanks again, and everybody have a wonderful weekend.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. Have a good weekend.